be back. Oh no, there's a tiny piece of lint. There, I'll get it out. Alright. So I decided to mix the lighter color. Yeah, let's hope this is not indicative of the day. Although the day has been kind of crappy on my end so far, so it might be. Just letting you all know. So then I've got 4, almost a pentad. So I'll be working on my PDF to go with the video today and tomorrow. I want to take some nice pictures of competition models from me and David to illustrate. Oh, No, didn't I put out a masterclass video for last month? I'm pretty sure I did. Or did I didn't whiff it, did I? Now you're making me freak out, Polly. Why are you asking that question? I did? Okay, I did put out a video. Yeah, I don't get why you're asking that question. It's part of my Patreon content, so every month I have to do it. There is no taking a break. If I don't do it, my $10 backers get grumpy and go and back somebody else. Or Patreon, or people anyway. Oh, yeah. The Kickstarter is not a big, like, except for having to do these last minute videos for John and Ron, like, which will take me probably a couple days to do. Because I have to watch the original video, make a plan or a script for what I'm gonna paint over, prep the models to do it, assuming I don't have a mini I can do it on, and then actually execute on it, and maybe re-execute on it if it doesn't turn out well. So I'm assuming that doing those videos for Ron and John are going to take a couple days, but they cannot disrupt my Patreon, because, you know, they just can't. So the Patreon is always number one. Has to be. You freaked me out there because you made me think that I'd forgotten something there, Polly. I'm like, wait, what? Why would I do that? Probably it's just me that I would not disrupt. People don't understand. They're like, oh, the visitor Kickstarter, maybe Anne won't post stuff. I'm like, no, that's not even an option. Sorry for the panic moment there. I've been kind of flashing on panic a lot today. It's okay. It's okay. It's entirely where my brain is wired today. Like, my brain is kind of freaking out a little bit about those videos because it's an extra load on top of what I already do. Just freaking out. Just the little wire in my brain got tripped and went, ah! That's what it's doing right now. And I'm trying to, like, you know, calm it down and go, dude, this is not an emergency. We can do this. And it's going, ah! You know those days when your brain is just wired at, ah! And you just have that in your head all day? Yeah, I've been there lately. So I'm trying to talk my brain off that ledge. So it's not you, it's me. Oh yeah. It's up on Instagram. If you look on his Insta, it's I believe it's Tybalt Rom, Tybalt period Rom, Tybalt.rom, RAHM, I think. So I'm using that Black Knight liner just to see if I can get it to look nice up here on the hairnet. I think it's going to look just fine. And it's going to be better for this purpose because these are really thin lines that I want to do, and liners just are good at that. Yeah, yep, exactly, Polly. Yeah, then you know the stress that I'm in right now. It's just, I try very hard. Like, there's a part of me that needs to control my life, that needs to have my hand on the wheel. And to do that, I tend to micromanage myself and my time. And so when something unexpected comes in that's going to suck up pretty much an entire day or maybe two of like my like the time that I can create that I can put open, I panic a little bit. I'm just like, oh crap, what, huh, who, what, huh, ah! You know that. But yeah, I can, and I've been there with D&D games too, so I totally, because it's the same thing, right? It's like other people's expectations and the pressure, and yeah, there's all sorts of triggers there depending on who you are. But yeah, my plan was not to miss a single step this month because of the Kickstarter. I'm just going to have to make sure I'm very efficient with my work to make sure I can fit in the stuff that Ron and John need. No mucking about, folks. No mucking about. There we go. We'll get that netting in there. Yeah, I really like Tybalt's entry. David wasn't as impressed with it when we first looked at it, but I was like, no, this one totally gets a demon. It actually inspires me to do. I was doing a bit of a conversion with the Stormcast on a Griff because I really love those Griff models, and I just like dropped it. Like I dropped. I have lost my oomph on it, but now seeing that one makes me want to pick up mine. Mine wasn't a chaos conversion. It was just doing something different with the rider, but it was going to take some sculpting. Yeah, the netting. Yeah, sometimes it's just too much. Like, people underestimate how much pressure and stress DMing a game can be. Like, running a game. And sometimes when the rest of your life is full, it's hard to find that creative wavelength. Like, that energy that you need to do it. And you just end up freaking out. And then it's just better to cancel it. No, I'm 100% with you there, Polly. I have canceled games when I've been freaking out about them too much. Although if it happens too many times, then I absolutely understand that that's a sign from the universe that I need to stop running the game. Because there's like, I'm just too stressed this week for this, and there's, I have canceled 3 weeks in a row, I'm just done with this game. Which is sad, but as we all know, happens often with role-playing games. When it just doesn't work out either for the players or for the GM. If you have a game that has gone on for years, it is a very special snowflake, you should treasure it. So I'm just trying to get these little lines in here. To make the netting consistent, there we are. But now I want to highlight those a little bit more, the poofs of hair that are coming out between the netting. Turning into a Nightmare of People was supposed to be 3. Oh, yeah, that would be a no. I would be talking to those people and saying, hey, that wasn't cool. Like, you have to set boundaries. You have to, as a GM. Like, they need to understand that that's not okay. Like, they at the very least need to understand that they must ask you in advance. Like, boundaries are terrible things, and it's hard for us to set them, but, like, lately I've been getting a lot more astute about noticing when I need to set one. And if there's a person who does not respect my boundaries, then they just get kind of dealt out of my life slowly. Oof. Yeah, one time is fine. Like, it's not fine, but it's at least that's an opportunity for you to see the problem and communicate, right? And say, hey, please don't do this again. This really hurt. This really hurts, right? This really hurts and it stressed me out. But yeah, I mean, when you take time, especially because you have to tune the adventure to be challenging for 3 people, and then, 2 more people show up, it's like, not only is that more personalities to manage, which is stressful enough for those of us who are introverts, but then the fights are unbalanced, and you've got to do something on the fly, which is stressful for those of us who like to have things prepared. Yeah, that would be a pretty quick road to getting dropped from a game. For me, I have like zero BS tolerance at this point in my GMing career. If I started a game, it would be like, here are some clear guidelines up front. No inviting extra people at random, no trying to sabotage the party because your character would. If you're playing that kind of character, roll a new character. No talking over other players. Everybody gets their say. Things like that. Like, those are really there we go. Alright, so that's looking okay. Still have a little bit of shadow under there. I'm going to do the other side, and then we're going to start on all these complicated knots. 4-person game. 4-person at most. 4 people is my limit. Yep. 100%. Yeah, rocks fall, everybody dies, right. I understand the power of being a good GM as well. I think I mentioned before that one time I uninvited somebody from my werewolf game and he actually cried. But he was such a disruptive player and he wasn't following, he wasn't listening when I gave him feedback. So I'm like, you're ignoring me, you're ruining the game for everyone else, I'm going to uninvite you. You are no longer invited to this game. You go up to 5, yeah. Yeah, 5 is too many for me. I prefer 3. I think 3 is a great group. And then, as you say, dropping in a helpful NPC to fill whatever is necessary is good. Or a succession of helpful NPCs. You don't have to keep one. Unless the party really likes them. But I'm more likely to tune down the encounter just a little bit. Because it's not too hard to adjust, I think, to 3. But yeah. Everybody's got kind of their own idea of where their set point is for best party. Like the number of people you feel like you can entertain at once, that you can manage, that makes a good party. But yeah, my favorite werewolf game I ever ran was just three players. And I love that because I can give each character their moment in the sun. Like, I feel like with 3 players, the social dynamic is good. And I have enough time that I can spend enough to make each character feel important. Which is less important in D&D, more important in the storyteller games, I guess. But it can be important in D&D if you're running a story-heavy campaign because the characters' backstories, if those are going to come up to become a liability for the party, like, you want to be able to give each character their time to have kind of the storyline, focus if that's the way you're running. If you're not, if you're just running, you know, random D&D campaign where everybody is of equal importance and the characters' backstories really don't matter that much, then it's different. But yeah, for werewolf for sure. Nice. Saver die ability every turn. Wow. Good for you. Good for you, Kodiak. There we go. What were you fighting? What was the big bag? What was the big bad in your campaign, Kodiak? But yeah, some people are just excited and they don't think about the fact that, you know, you spent a lot of time like creating the game for a specific group, and but like I said, then it needs to be mentioned. It needs to be brought up as not cool when it happens. I kind of feel like the people who don't like set those rules are the ones that's the game that fades away. Because if the GM doesn't bring it up, then it just kind of festers, and if the bad behavior continues, then the GM just doesn't want to run anymore. I'm still struggling to get back into my groove after the con. I did gain 2.5 pounds at the con. Did not surprise me very much that I gained 2.5 pounds at the con with the way I was eating. But that's alright. I can lose the 2.5 pounds again. It just sets me back a little bit. I mean, technically my goal for the race was only 11 pounds lower than I am now, and I have 6 months to lose 11 pounds, so one hopes that I can do that. Oh, an evil dwarf. Goddess of Darkness. Nice! Great! That sounds awesome, Kodiak. That's really cool. That's double great that a new that the guy you introduced to D&D actually ran such a good campaign. It's got to be rewarding. Gotta love a good story. And even better that there's a through story, you know, with previous campaigns, because that makes it even, like, that's what gives you the emotional payoff, instead of just random bad guy every time you turn around. I feel like Blizzard has lost the script on that with World of Warcraft, or they just ran out of people. They ran out of characters to make bad guys, so yeah. Alright, so a little lighter, we'll go to our lighter color now, our lighter blue-gray, and I'm going to take, because I used my darker blue-gray to kind of fill in all of my little hair bits. Technically, I could do a little bit of hair texture on all of these, but I'm feeling lazy and not really into it. Plus, since the hair texture on the hair here is not, like, graceful, I feel like if I put a really fine hair texture up here, it just won't match this hair. Yeah, that's actually was my whole, that was my goal as far as my motivation to lose weight, Bryce, because yeah, it makes everything at CrossFit easier to weigh less. I've gotten better. I mean, I still use a band, but I use a lighter band now for pull-ups than I used to at CrossFit, which was very, very rewarding to realize. But yeah, running, for every pound you lose, your time at the same, like your pace at the same heart rate increases by 2 to 3 seconds. So if you lose 10 pounds, your mile time drops by 20 to 30 seconds, which is pretty huge. Like, it's the easiest way to improve your speed, actually, when you're running, is to if you're overweight, to lose weight. Plus, it's a lot easier on your joints and everything. 80 pull-ups yesterday. Yuck. We have a strict pull-up unit starting tonight. Strict pull-ups and strict ring dips. So it's essentially a practice session to work up to it. I won't get to the full strict pull-up, or the strict ring dip, but I'm at least making progress. All right, so we're using our medium light. You can see that color coming in. I'm keeping a little bit of the darker color, and I want it to stay down here so we can still see the shadow. And we're actually doing thrusters in a workout, which we almost never do. So we're doing our weight unit, or our technique unit. We do a couple different things at my CrossFit. So we do a workout of the day, but on days when we do a weight or strength training or a technique unit, we do a shorter workout of the day, which I prefer that format. So I'm glad my CrossFit does it. So the pull-ups and ring dips are our strength / technique component, and then we're doing a short workout of the day with thrusters and double unders. Ah, nice, yeah. I mean, honestly, anything you do is good, Lisana. Like, that's my running coach. Like, actually had to tell me that. Like, I'm doing a group cohort coaching, so there's a bunch of people in the call. But he's like, just remember that, like, when you're trying to increase the number of runs you do per week, he's like, it doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't even have to be 45 minutes. You can go out for 20 minutes and it still counts. So that was kind of what I've been living on for the last couple days, because I was so tired because I hadn't been sleeping well. I was still recovering. I was just reminding myself, hey, it doesn't have to be 35 or 40 or 45 minutes. It can be 20. And with a 5-minute warm-up walk and a 5-minute walking cool down, that ends up being half an hour. There we go. So we got that. We still got a shadow showing on the underneath there, which is good. Now we can bring this up to white. Your torso moves less. I don't know about that. Always question those running videos, because the thing is, if you study movement, the movement of your shoulders, like the way your shoulders rotate, is in counterpoint to the movement of your hips. So if your shoulders aren't moving as much, that means your hips aren't swinging as much. You're not getting that full range of motion, kind of thing, right? So I don't know about that, because there's also research, and the problem is that there's research on all this different stuff, right? And often it contradicts itself. But there is also a body of research that says that the faster / better runners are those who have more movement in their torso, like their shoulders and hip offsetting each other, because essentially you're producing more power. But again, who knows? Because all these people, all these studies, there's tons of them. I started listening to a book on the science of running. I'm hoping it's by a really good YouTube guy. Hold on, I'll look it up. Where are we? Library. Come on. Oh, it's just so sad. Science of Running by Steve Magnus. Steve Magnus is also a YouTube guru. I like his stuff because he comes from both a physical science background and a elite runner background and a coaching background. So he has a lot of different backgrounds that he pulls on from this stuff. So I think he's pretty good. Lair dropped a new Kickstarter today. GM resource book. Probably not. Yeah, probably not for me, Laura. I've been trying not to get distracted because right now I need less references and more writing. Yeah, there is so much 5e countdown out there. But yeah, so I just started listening to that Science of Running book, but I hope that he'll talk about he talks about a whole bunch of competing studies and gives his thoughts, is my understanding. Like there's definitely competing information between the coaches and the scientists, and the book is kind of about that and like the disconnect between the coaching, what the coaches are seeing in real life, and what the scientists see in the lab, as far as runners. So I'm looking forward to it. I like Magnus's stuff in general. But yeah, I bought a few D&D reference books last month, and they were helpful, somewhat helpful, but in the end, right now I just need to write more. All right, let's get some of the pure white up here on top of the hair, just the upper part. I'm going to thin my white just a little bit. I think it's a little bit thick. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of books out there, and if you don't have a lot of stuff, then it can feel like a smorgasbord. Yeah, I wonder what the best. What do you say, internet? Best books on running RPG games. Let's see if there's anything. Oh, okay. Yeah, one of these I just got. Interesting. Yeah, I like this one. I might have to get this one. The Return of the Lazy DM. Because I'm all about unnecessary preparation. The monsters know what they're doing. I'm really enjoying. I'm reading that right now. Robin's Laws of Good Game Mastering. Yeah, I've heard about the Robin's Laws books. So yeah, it really, what helps, Laura, when you're starting, I mean, yeah, definitely absorbing everything is definitely a tactic. But if you can identify what you need most, like, my encounters feel flat, I need more techniques and tips about running monsters effectively, then you want the monsters know what they're doing, right? Whereas if you're having trouble, like, just because you prepare so much and then you only use a fraction of your stuff, maybe you want to go for the Lazy DM. The Return of the Lazy DM. And if you want world building books, then you'd look up something specifically for that. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Cool. Maybe I'll pick up the Lazy Jam book. Sounds like my thing. So we're bringing in our pure white up here to make the hair look correct. And again, I'm putting just a small highlight toward the top, leaving some of the other colors down below so we get a gradient. And I'll double check this because when there's a grid, it can be difficult. His stuff helps you add life. Yeah, okay, cool. Well, then you found you found your things. DM layer, huh? I will look that up. The Secret Art of Game Mastery. Is that one of them? Looks cool. A lot of vids. Yeah, how to be a great GM. Cool. Yeah, yeah. I love that there's all these resources that I never had. But it's great that there's so many resources for new DMs now. Let's get a few more of these highlighted, and they're almost set. It's a little bit brighter on this side, so I think I either need to take these down a notch or take these up. I probably need to take these up because they've got a little bit too dark still on the top. So I think I'm gonna do a glaze real quick, because that's the fastest way to do this. Putting glaze on, grabbing our brush. Actually, I'm going to grab a slightly larger brush to pull this off. And let's pull off the excess. And make sure we pull all the extra fluid out so it doesn't break. And that has brought it up brighter. I need to just correct a few of these here. That's a little bit too much. Yeah, that's what I don't like about D&D Twistedoma, is the, you know, the never-ending updating of sets. Although, to be fair, it was pointed out that it has been 10 years since they put out the last one with this new one, so I did buy this new one. Hopefully it will also be good for the next 10 years. I like 5th edition. Alright, there we go. All nice and shiny now, and all it took was a glaze and a little touch-up. Sweet. But yeah, there are all sorts of YouTube channels and Twitch streams and books and all sorts of stuff about how to be a better game master now out there at Twistedoma. I'm going to use my pure white and just kind of get a little bit of strand highlighting in here. Want to take some of the darkest shadows up that are on the top of the hair, so I'm going to paint them in a little bit with a lighter color. Oh dearie. Ugh, yawns. I should not be tired today. I think I slept okay. I'm trying to get, it's been a challenge lately. Like, we had gotten to the point where we were headed to bed around 10, but somehow after the con, this slipped to 10:35 or 10:40. And that's just not working for me. So the husband is going to get kind of the eyeball tonight, the talking to. I told him, I warned him, no, we have to start getting for bed at 10. It's like, you can flop around on your phone all you want, once we're in bed, but I need to get to sleep. And it doesn't work when he like stays up 40 minutes later and then comes to bed, because then he wakes me up. Yeah, I mean, that's how they make their money. I mean, if you want these people to get paid and keep producing awesome content, that's why it's like, I feel like people doing the YouTube and the stuff like that and monetizing it maybe have a more consistent business model. I just wish that like my wish for the future of like digital media of this kind of thing is that there's a file that is like the book or the video or the whatever, and when a new one comes out you just pay for the new one and it just like overwrites or, you know, updates your old one. I don't know, some people like to have the original rules, I guess, but then you could buy a paper copy. But I just feel bad about all these poor D&D books that are like, you know, kind of defunct now if people decide they don't like that edition, and they're all just being mulched or thrown into landfills. Yeah, I mean the 24 update is different enough for sure. Well, I mean that's just something they've had to bow. I mean they may have. Okay, so wizards, when you're talking about like naming and product forwardness, that group of people aren't going to be gamers. So that group of people is going to say, "Oh no, we're just, you know, we just changed a few things. It's still 5th edition. The core of the rules is the same." You know, but they don't understand how much difference some of the changes they made actually, you know, amount to when you're actually playing the game. Like there's almost always that disconnect. Unless it's a very small company, you've got the disconnect between the people who are doing the marketing and the people who are actually playing the game or actually designed it and understand it. Yeah, trading card games. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, because Magic has to churn faster in order to get more money. Yep. To keep its bottom line. Yep. Yeah. I mean, and there's always cards from the older sets that are like still legal or still in use or people still want them, but they're compared to the whole bulk of the set, it's like a few cards and not, you know, not any real volume of it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. A lot of it is playtesting. Yeah, good point. But I mean, sometimes it isn't matter of the rules being decent. It's just a rule that you thought people would like, and they end up not liking it, right? Like there is no. If there was subjectively a good or bad in the equation, then it'd be much easier to put out, you know, good content. But there isn't. A lot of it is people just like it or they don't. And so you can put out a product that you feel is really good, but yeah, and even then your playtesters, if your playtesters are only from like one community that has like one main thing they're worried about, or two or three, like it still might not resonate with your average player, right? See, I started out creating my own Turgeon, but now I have no time. So when I was running, I absolutely adapted existing modules because I just did not have the time to like create everything that needed to be done. All right, I'm going to mix my Black Knight liner with a bit of my darker blue-gray and try to get a darker shadow between these hair bits. Actually, I think I'm going to mix up that color straight up. So last time I didn't mix a color, I regretted it. So we're going to make it darker blue-gray, darker than this one. And we're going to use that so we can see that that is noticeably darker. And we're going to use that to get between these hair strands. We want to get some shadows in there. I'm going to drop a little bit of water in that. Yeah, yeah. Warhammer, at least, I mean, yeah, at least, like I was to say, it's several years between releases, and most of your models stay relevant. So, like, I feel like I have my Tyranids, and my Tyranids aren't going to change appreciably, right? And my Eldarcraft World stuff that I had from, 10 years ago is still relevant now. The rules have changed. Some units that used to be good might not be as good, and some units that maybe weren't great are better now. But at least with Warhammer, they've somewhat gone away from changing things like immensely. They still try to put out like new units or new versions of units, but they don't whole hog redo everything anymore. They understand that people bought the models, 2 years ago, and they want to keep using them. So like I am I don't feel too bad about that. I'm pretty sure my Tyranids are going to be good. Right. Even my Sisters of Battle, like maybe one of the more specialized units gets dropped in favor of a new specialized unit, but the majority of like your standard sisters aren't going to change. They might get an updated look, and then it's your call whether you want to buy them, right? All right, so that shadow going in, you can see how that brings out the mass of hair here. Yeah, those who play competitively, yes. Right, most people it won't affect. I'm just kind of watching to see if they redo some of the classic Warhammer stuff. If old world is doing well, whether I get to restart my Wood Elves or not. So I'm putting some shadows not just in between these, but also you can see at the bottom part of the braid where it tucks under, where it starts to tuck under the others. And I don't have to be real tight about this. I can be a bit messy about it at the beginning, because as I bring in highlights, then we're going to clean this up. But you can be messy with the shadows. And I'm going to put a shadow down the side of the braid as well. So you can see that shadow. And again, we can get a little bit more specific. We're gonna definitely do kind of a line along with each braid chunk. And at the bottom. But as far as this being kind of a rough cutoff, like I can tweak this and make it look a lot nicer once I come in with highlights. I don't need to worry about it right now. I like to play. It's really it's the only thing, playing is the only thing that's going to motivate me to paint some of that stuff. It's a good motivator for me to paint. But I don't have a group here, so I haven't been worried about it. And I've got enough on my plate. I don't need to find a gaming group to make everything more complicated. I'll wait till I have my current version of my life all ironed out after the Kickstarter, after I finish stepping down from all the dog club stuff, which I just initiated. That'll take a distraction away from my life. That'll be nice. Yeah, and get the positive reinforcement. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you totally can paint an army just for the joy of painting the army. I had a lot more fun playing the game when I just let myself not care about the results. I was just there to have fun with my friends. Alright, so we've got the shadows, and you can see how those have really made the braid, the forms stand out. Now we got the shadow coming on this side, although I can definitely extend it a bit. Again, you can get choppy here, it doesn't matter. You're going to clean it up with your subsequent highlights. Cool, Kodiak. Good luck with your painting. Okay, I want to actually stop and get some black on this fur. I think I am going to want to do the fur black. Probably going to be taking a day off of stream later this month, Quindy, to, there's some DMV stuff I need to do. And we all know that DMV stuff is just like a horrible thing, and you never know how long it's going to take up, and going in the morning is the best. So I will let you know once I have things organized and I get an appointment. Man, the yawnies are real for me today. Very yawny. Alright, we got our black and thin it just a little bit. I'm using pure black, but I'm going to put a brush full of the Black Knight in it. Just to make it a little different. Just like with grays, I like my blacks to have a little bit of something different in them. Hey, Barky-thon, no, come here. Yeah, come here, Barky-thon. Kiki. Keekers. Kiki. Woohoo! Come here. Come here. Come here. No, ma'am, come here. Yeah, there's no axe murderers. There's just you. There's just you, Miss Floof. Yeah, and you are just impatient. The impatient dog. You still have 25 minutes to hang out. You do. You're going to have to just hang. Sorry. Sorry, impatient hound. Yeah, you're so impatient hound. You're such an impatient hound. Yes, you are. Also, you've got drool on your face. How gross. How gross. Dogs are gross. Thump, thump. Good girl. Yeah, she's like, hey, I want to jump up on Mommy, but there's too much stuff on the floor. There's too much stuff, Mom. Yeah, she's like, I'm noping out on that. Sorry, Bub. I don't blame you for noping out. She looked like she might want to jump up, but it was my fault for having too much crap on the floor. Hey, Roger. Yeah, I've just got all this freaking paint all over the floor, and I need to organize it. But I probably won't have time or emotional bandwidth or energy bandwidth till the weekend. You know how that goes. And then I have to decide to sacrifice some weekend to doing it. Alright. I need a bigger brush. Come here, bigger brush. I'm going to switch to my number 2. Let's get this black in here. I might need to add a little bit more. Thought about gray for the fur, but I do want her to kind of look a little wicked. So black fur. I could also go with a lighter gray for the fur, but wasn't convinced about that. So I'm going to do the black, and if I end up not liking the black, I'll redo it in a light gray. But I want to do this black and then go this black and get some of this some of the raw material of the miniature blocked out. Then we'll do more on the hair. I'm using a number 2 brush for this because it's a bigature, so we can use a big brush. Plus I have to get David tax stuff this weekend, so God only knows when this paint is going to get organized. Taxes take priority. I need to dig out my tax folder. I don't think I've got as many deductions this year, though. Haven't bought any software or stuff like that for the writing. Probably just my usual subscriptions. Yeah, David always does ours. I've suggested we just pay somebody, but because every year he goes through this this angst-ridden ranting about TurboTax, and I'm like, you know, we could pay somebody. Yeah, it is what it is. If I had a regular job, it would be like much easier, but because I am freelance, it gets more difficult. More of a pain in the butticus, in fact. Well, we already bought TurboTax this year, so I'll mention the free Tax USA to David. Never had to do yours, yeah. Hand them off, yeah. Free Tax USA is who you use. Nice. Thanks, Belly. Yeah, it's not quite finished. I wanna highlight it just probably one more with the dark skin. But yeah, it's there. This is the base of this is the new Reaper Remastered Dark Flesh. It's a new color. So that will be the Kickstarter's running now with those paints. Or if you got the special set from ReaperCon last year, it is in that set. But yeah, I'll tell David about the free Tax USA. Let me actually write that down on a little thingy. I'll put it on in my David thing. All one word, Free Tax USA. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm not into bottle toppers. I like to put my little dots of paint on my little bottle tops and not have other stuff. Alright, it's just getting all this black blacked in so that I can get an idea of the color composition. Yeah, the bottle toppers are a fun niche thing, it's true. Yep. Fun niche thing, won't, you know, require a lot of extra work. Just touching up where I miss parts. But yeah, getting that black in there is definitely giving me a better idea. This part is going to be gold, and those little beads are going to be gold too. So pretty soon I'm going to want to start blocking in some of this other stuff so I can get a better sense of the color, the light and dark value composition of the model, as well as the color composition. But I think the fur is going to stay black. The skin is like a light enough brown that I feel like the black works. It's not dark on dark. There. Alright, yeah, that's a little better. Oh, I missed a spot up here. And then we'll go back to hair. The problem with the Reaper logo is it's got those the horns that spiral out like way far out at the sides, and you probably don't want that if you're trying to fit paint bottles next to each other. I'll put the gloves on too, since I know I've known they were gonna be black for a while. So essentially what I'm doing here is my black and my white are kind of the same like color because I'm shading the white with this Black Knight liner plus white, but I'm going to highlight the black with that same color. So essentially there is a color identity to these neutrals, but it's pretty subtle, but they'll be the same, even though one is extremely dark and one is extremely light, which should keep them from clashing with stuff, and also limits my color selection, which I like to do. I don't like to throw every color onto a model. Yeah, these black, I'm definitely going to need to do some sharp, bright highlights on the back of these bracers. Make them like a shiny leather. So that the line of her arm is clear. Otherwise they kind of just disappear, which we don't want. Yeah, I definitely wanted to do something with cool colors on her, even though Drow would normally be like black and purple. I wanted her to switch it up a bit. Yeah, so I will need to make sure I'm going to be suggesting the fur and the bracer are definitely different materials by the way I highlight them. I'm rethinking whether I want to commit to doing a painting book Kickstarter. I need to make sure I have the time and the bandwidth to do it first. It is going to be a lot of extra work, and I can't ignore that. But it would also be nice to get that finally out in the world, so. Yeah, I just need to sit with it for a while, Kodiak, and figure out if I'm going to commit to it. If I'm going to commit to it, then I need to figure out when. Like, it's going to take away from my other writing, for sure. Like, that's almost where it has to come out of. Because I can't just magically create more time. You know, we wish we could. So yeah, I probably need to figure out where I can fit it in. Where I can fit it in, and then do kind of a timetable and figure out how long it's going to take me to do it. I mean, the great thing is that the videos for a lot of it are already done. They're the fundamentals videos I've been doing for a couple of years for the YouTube. So when we do if we do the book and Ron needs, you know, video clips to put up on the Kickstarter, he can totally just pull from that stuff. Yeah, there's only so many spoons, exactly, that's the problem. But I do definitely have like bucket list stuff in my life, and that's one of my bucket list items, so it would be worth doing. It's just how can I do it and still keep my life in balance? Yeah, so that black definitely, like, that changes that feel of the upper part of the torso. I still need to shave this wand down. Even more than I did. But I like her. I like her attitude. I like her skin tone a lot. That's definitely what we put the most work into, right? All right. Paintbrush. Smaller brush for the little strands in the hair, and we're going to start with the lighter blue gray. But yeah, I feel like we could do pretty well with a painting book. My YouTube has got a fair number of people on it, and I would assume that they would be interested in it. And then, of course, the Reaper community. So a lot of people who know my work. So yeah. Because it's essentially like every chapter of the book is is essentially like an additional Patreon piece, right? So then I have to ask myself, how many of those can I do per month? Do I have the room for that? Do I have the spoons for it? I've been forced to get pretty honest with myself lately about like how I use my time and how much time I'm like can sacrifice for this stuff. So I already do a lot for Patreon every month. I mean, if my painter people who know me, like if they want to endorse it, like they can. I'm not in asking people for that. I'm more like, I might do a general shout out. But I mean, I also burned my social media, remember? So I got rid of my Facebook, and that's where a lot of painters were following me. I could start doing my Instagram again and put a shout out on that. A lot of painters in the Instagram community. But we're not even, I mean, we can't think about promotion until we actually decide whether we're going to do the project, right? So. Although, I wonder. I need to ask the internet this. Do people use Google Ads to promote Kickstarters? ? I'm really interested in that. Because I wonder if ads would work for that, right? Supplemental. Okay. Facebook and Instagram are dominant platform. All right, so that means Facebook ads might be a thing for a painting book. I would be willing to do that. I know how to do Facebook ads. I have that skill set. That could be interesting. All right, so we're bringing in a little bit of the white up here to make these pop up a little bit more. I'm highlighting. I'm going to shrink my highlights as they go up. Got just a few more minutes in the stream. Yeah, probably I just need to make a commitment to the painting book and just chug through it. When I was writing I wrote this breeder training manual for the dog club a long time ago. And that was a lot of writing and digging up pictures and stuff. And I had to pretty much do it where it was like every Saturday in the evening I had an alarm go off and I would just sit down and do another lesson of that. And maybe that's what I need to do for the painting book. The hypothetical painting book. Just commit and try not to don't try to shoehorn it into every day, every week. Just commit to one day a week in the evening to get a lesson done every week. And if more happens, then more happens, but like the minimum is that. Because the only way you get through something like that is a bite at a time, so. Big projects, novels are just like that. Just a bite at a time. So you can see those details coming out. Now I will take a white glaze and I will glaze over the tops of these to make them less stripy and more like they're a mass of hair. The problem with highlighting like this is that you get a bunch of detail, but it's very flat. I mean, David, he could, not for me, because I just don't have, I'm just not prolific enough, I think. The art of books are great, but a lot of my stuff for Reaper is going to look very elemental next to a lot of the other people who populate the space, I think. David, though, is very prolific and has a lot of really nice things, and I feel like he would be a good candidate for the art of books. He's much more the type of subject matter they're looking for. When it comes down to it, I just haven't done enough like competition-worthy work, and that's usually the showpieces or what they're looking to show off in those books. But lately, my happy spot is definitely not creating giant, really high-end pieces. It'll take me salvaging a fair bit of energy before I have the oomph for it, and I just paint much slower than David because I do this, It's only part that my own painting is only a small part of what I do for life. But yeah, David's a good candidate for that. I doubt he'd ever reach out, but if Dave reached out to him, then he might. He still owns all his stuff, so he'd have to write, though. I assume that those books are by, although maybe Dave puts it together, right? But I don't know who does the writing for those things. He certainly has enough models to take pictures of, though, and David has really been working on his photography so that he can get better pics of his Golden Demon stuff. But yeah, I see my legacy as being somewhat different in the hobby than that. Maybe I started out along that road, but I'm not like... My legacy in the hobby, I really want it to be like, the paint line is really cool, and one of like teaching and education and just helping people like reach their goals, like staying positive, trying to help people so that they don't get frustrated by their hobby, right? So that they can stick with it and enjoy it. Like, I think my main goals are that, and those goals aren't the type of goals that lead to having a big mass of well-painted miniatures to show off in a coffee table book. So it's a much more less tangible legacy. David will be remembered as a great painter, but I don't know if he'll be remembered like for teaching or for like other aspects of the hobby, right? Whereas I want to be remembered more for just essentially adding a positive space, helping people enjoy their hobby, being a good educator, giving people the help they need via the videos, stuff like that. I think it's different legacies. Yeah, about the process. Yeah. Honestly, if there's one book, one book, it has to be the one that I'm thinking of doing with Reaper. Like, I think that's all. Every other book other than that is fiction. I don't want to. I'm really not that interested in writing nonfiction for the painting space. I think there's a lot of people doing it, other than my Patreon, of course. But I think there's a lot of people doing it. Once I put out a good book on it, I feel like that should stand. And then my Patreon just becomes iterations on those themes. Different ways of showing, how you can tackle these things. Yeah, so once I glaze a little bit, I take the stripiness down up here. We can see the light a little better, and it all pulls together a lot better. Yeah, but I can talk a little bit about my paint journey and the introduction to the painting book that I want to do, if I would do it with Reaper. Like, I don't need to go, like, super in depth with it. I don't think people really need a lot of very in-depth coverage of that sort of thing. You want to really bring up the things that are, interesting, or the things that inspired you. But yeah, I want this to be a very functional painting book. There are books out there, like Alfonso's, that very much are about his method, his mindset, and, who Alfonso is as an artist. I do not want my book to be that. I want my book to be a direct, like, helping other people book. Like, I want to be a positive impact on the painting space. And it doesn't have, it isn't to do with me. It's to do with creating a product that people can interface with and get value from. Like, that's 100% my goal. It's a very different sort of goal. More like what Kirill did for AK and what Arnaud did for AK. More like those FAQ books. I think those are valuable. But mine would be, whereas Kirill's book and Arnaud's book are those FAQ books are pretty advanced. I want this one to be accessible to the beginner painter, right? To the beginner and intermediate painter. I feel like there's a lack of that kind of thing in the space, right? Especially in print. I suspect, like, that's kind of what Learn to Paint kits, are successful. Because people can use the support. Anyway, you can see how that's all coming together. These are glazed. These aren't. You can see the stripiness of these. You can see how the stripiness kind of fades a little bit once we glaze. You start to see the light and the texture a little bit better. It's not as flat. But I think this is turning out quite well. Much better than I thought it was going to, honestly. We still have a lot to do, but it's about time to cap the stream. So we got some stuff locked in. We got the hair going on. We'll do her eyeballs so she stops looking like she has ghost eyes at some point. Her eyes are big enough that we can actually give her, like, red eyes if we want, red or purple. Like a traditional drow. So I'll have to think about the eye color I want with her. But yeah, we're moving right along. Cool. And there's still more. The blue's looking okay, but yeah, obviously the teal is flat. So yeah, we have a fair way to go on this. Yeah, I mean, I already have a, how I got into mini painting video for my YouTube. Did it a long time ago. But yeah, I could talk about it more. But like I said, it's, for me, that's more of an introduction. It's not the meat. Like, it's not the point. I am not the point. The point is the painting. Anyway, thanks, y'all. Oh, whew. That felt longer than it was. Oh, yeah, skull toppers. Yep, yep. Yeah, I mean, there's ways to get skulls. There's ways to get skulls. So, yeah, the hair's coming along, guys. The hair's coming along. I'm pretty happy. I want to do some freehand up here, too, I think. Once I decide if I'm going to put a spider motif. I thought about putting a spider motif up on her, her skull cap there. And maybe some on the sleeves, although the sleeves are going to be harder. This sleeve is easy, but this sleeve is buried, so... But I thought about putting spider designs on the back of her sleeves. I think that would be fun. Yeah, her skin is the closest thing to done on the model. I still, like I said, I would like one more highlight, I think. But I want to get everything else kind of blocked in before I figure out how high I want to take that. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I mean, she is a dark elf. She's just not a purple and red and black dark elf like usual, right? But I still was thinking about putting some spidery things on her. Thought that would be fun. So, all right. Thanks, everyone, for following along. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Tomorrow, we're halfway through the week already. Not a lot of room down there, Twisted Oma. And remember, when you put freehand down low, it draws the eye. You don't always want the eye focusing down here. You want the eye focusing up here. It's easy to do it on the sleeves because on the back of the model, you don't have a face. So when you can add visual interest to the back of the model, like with the complicated hair design here is really pleasing and nice to look at. But then when you follow that down here, having spiders to look at would be actually pretty good. But yeah, I'd hesitate to put anything other than very simple freehand, like a border down on the dress and stuff. Yeah. No, I already have all that already figured out, Pendrake. It's going to be Fundamentals of Miniature Painting. That's what it's going to be called because that's the video series that inspired it. So, and it's the video series that people will be able to go and watch. So it helps me, because the book will refer to videos in the video series. It helps Reaper because there's already a bunch of IP they can snag to do like clips for the Kickstarter. It helps, the reader because then they have videos they can go watch too if they will learn better that way. Like, it's all good. But that means the branding is on. So branding is Fundamentals of Miniature Painting. But anyway, I hope you all have a lovely day. It's warm here. I think it's supposed to be 75 today. It should be nice. It should be nice for my walk with Kiki. Quindy, thank you for modding us, and I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Bye.